Hi, it's Bernardo Moya. I'm the founder of The Best You. I wanted to share with you my vision, my dream, the concept of The Best You. The well-being industry is worth $3 trillion. Why? Because everyone wants to become the best version of themselves. The well-being industry is massive, but there isn't a place where you could connect with everyone, a place where speakers, authors, leaders could share their expertise, and a place where people that are looking, seeking, interested in finding that knowledge for them to connect. So The Best You is a multi-platform, global platform. And what we have is we have a variety of products and services. Our first thing is the Best You Expo. Now, we've been doing this for the last 5 years, and over these last 5 years, we've had close to 70,000 people attend, and we promoted more than 700 speakers. Additionally to that, because we filmed every single event, we have more than 700 talks from world leaders, all in one library of content. Additionally to that, the Best You magazine with interviews with world leaders and experts on any and every subject related to personal and professional growth. And one of the most exciting projects that we're involved in now is the Best You Legacy Clubs. This will become the biggest, largest network for people in personal, professional growth. The Best You is now the fastest growing personal development platform on the planet. And the reason being is because we literally cater for anyone and everyone's needs in the well-being industry. Look, the difference between this event and any other event that you've seen out there is that the Best You has a very clear purpose. Our purpose is to help individuals find ultimately what they're here for, what their legacy is going to be. But we only really work with like-minded individuals. We work with people that believe in the same kind of values that we have. And that is that personal and professional growth is about helping others, not only helping yourself, if you know what I mean. Because there's a lot of that. There's all these events which are literally sales fest. We're not that. If that's what you're looking for, you need to go elsewhere. But if you're interested in working with a brand that has a phenomenal reputation, that is only working with the best, I hope you join us, because this is it.
All right, we're back. We got our next guest speaker on the main stage at the Best You Expo 2020 virtual. Very excited. We're on day 6. We're wrapping up. A couple more speakers, then we go into the next day, and then we wrap up this year's Best You Expo, which was virtual, which was an amazing experience. Just had Eric Swanson on the stage. So much energy. Very excited for our next guest. This is Dr. Marina Bruni. I'm actually going to bring her in really quick. How are you? Nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you, and thank you for having me. I'm very excited.
Oh my God, we're so excited. Have you been running around the expo at all inside the virtual expo?
Yeah, a little bit, not that much to be honest, but yeah, a little bit. Yeah, but I know the expo. I was a speaker last year in London at the real event, so yeah.
And I did one in where were we? We were in Long Beach, and I did the week there in Long Beach live on the stage at the convention center, which was amazing. So the transition to the virtual world's pretty cool. You know, you kind of find your way through this. But let me do a proper introduction for you. So Marina Bruni, aka the Global Brain Activation Strategist, brings innovative and proprietary techniques and strategies to both corporations and privates who want to shift out of debilitating phobias, indecisiveness, poor health, frustration, confusion, lack of clarity, stress, poor performance, fatigue, burnout, and so on, if you get my point. So she trains her corporate and private students to simultaneously shift from right brain to left brain and from left brain to right brain. Her students can then think of creative solutions that might not have occurred to them, and if they were isolating the left brain logic versus the right brain creativity. So Marina, how are you? It's so exciting to have you here. Tell me more about what I just read.
I'm super excited to be here. Thank you so much for asking the question, Tony. Well, what I do basically, one of the things that I do, because as you might know, my background is in law. I've been a lawyer for over 20 years, and then I've combined my lawyering expertise with my neurosciences, neurolinguistic, and energy capabilities. And basically, what I do is, I mean, you know better than I do that most of the general people, they are either only or mostly either left brainer, I mean, very logical, very analytical, very detail oriented, but they can't really get the big picture because it's too much for them. Exactly. Or very much into the right brain, meaning very creative, but very much tra la 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 la, not very grounded.
Which one are you?
Well, actually, I have to say I'm blessed because I mean I did the work. I did the work, so I've integrated the both, and the thing is that when you integrate both logic and creativity together and use them in a combined way, because you can also have both skills but using them separately, and that still doesn't give you the maximum, because it's only when you use both them together that your vessel expands, and then you are able to download more information, more data from the outside and the inside world, and process them through your sensory system, and then produce better outcome and more results and that's when really changes start happens. And then
is there somewhere people can go, because we like to multitask, that on the internet where they're watching this virtually, where they could go to a website and follow along and look through your website?
Yes, absolutely. They can go to my website, and they can also do something very, very useful for them. They can, folks, go there and download my free guide on how to design your energetic morning blueprint. www.marinabruni.com, marinabruni.com, and download your free guide, how to design your energetic morning blueprint. Because into that, the next step to that is the activation of your energetic DNA, which is also very important, because we are energetic beings. We are energy.
So what I want to do is I want to give you the full screen so you get the maximum screen time. Where are you calling us from? Where are we getting your presence?
I am in London, and it's midnight right here.
Oh my God, Bernardo's. Well, no, he's in. Okay, we're all over the place. He's in Ireland. Okay, I'm going to give you the full stage for about 20 minutes or so, and then I'll pop back on. Okay.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Great having you on the stage. Enjoy.
Thank you so much. So how was I saying? The next level will be integration and activation of your own energetic DNA, because we are spiritual beings, we are energetic beings, and everything is energy. Everything needs to flow. And that's very much connected to the movie I've had the pleasure to be in, How Thoughts Become Things, which is what we're going to talk about today. And that's the secret to the secret. And the thing is, the way I always like to introduce the movie is that the secret is a milestone. It was a milestone. It was the beginning of a wonderful conversation. This new movie, How Thoughts Become Things, it's the sequel. We are continuing that conversation, because the human brain is an amazing machine, but it's built up in a funny way. If you give too much information all together, it feels like drunk. It goes dipsy, because it's too much. So we cannot bear too much information if we are not prepared to that. And so we need to diluted it. And the secret was amazing. Gave us the first step. The what? What is the secret? That was revealed. With How Thoughts Become Things, we take things to the next level, and we release the second part. We release the process. How thoughts become things. If thoughts become things. But in order to find that out, you will have to go and watch the movie. And believe me, you want to watch the movie. I mean, there are people like Bob Proctor, John DeMartini, Joy Vitale, amazing teachers. Oh, I'm in the movie too as well. And how I ended up in the movie is it was really the law of attraction in action. So what we teach in the movie, the power of thoughts, the power of mindset, the power of your energetic beings, because we are an energetic beings. We have an energetic body, we have a mental body, we have an emotional body, and we have a physical body. And everything is connected and everything works together. And that's how we create our own reality. That's how we create our own the outcome that we want, as we want it. But all that works perfectly when everything is aligned, when we are aligned, when our three bodies mental, physical, and emotional are aligned, are coherent. If there is some discrepancy, some inconsistency, some mixing signal that we send out there, that alignment goes out of whack. And that's why, and that's when we complain that we cannot, for some reason, we don't know how, but we cannot create what we want, and say, oh, why is that? It doesn't work. These kind of things, oh, they don't really work for me. Well, no, that's a law. It's a universal law. It works 24/7. The fact that we don't get the result that we want is not because the law doesn't work. It's because somehow we have some disconnection within ourselves, and therefore we send out the wrong signal. And this connection can be a disconnection between your conscious mind and your unconscious mind. And what we are doing with this movie is bringing all this to light. And because we wanted to teach this, because see, when things are aligned and you start really creating what you want and you open that door, then you get more and more and more, and you can create more of what you have. But in order to get there, you need to do some work, which is basically clearing up all those internal inconsistencies, all these second guessing yourselves, all these fears, all this overthinking, all this scarcity mindset, and that most of us, most of you, I mean, I was one of them at some point, sort of, not really, but it's about stepping up, and it's also about taking action, because thoughts are very important. What you think and how you think, yes, it's very important. Everything starts in the mind. Everything starts in the mind. Right brain, left brain integration. That's why it's so important. And it's not about controlling. It's not about being in control of every single thing that happens into your mind. I don't want you to become a control freak. That's not at all. It's about mastery. Now, what does it mean? Mastery means that you are present with yourself. You are present with your thoughts. You are present with your all being. You're present with your all persona. You are present right here, right now. Right here, right now, I'm present. I'm talking to you. And I'm fully present, and you can feel that, even though it's through technology, but you can feel that. If I were here talking but thinking about everything else, anything else, and miles away with my mind, you will feel that too. You will feel that I'm not connected. I wouldn't be connected. And so that's very important. So with your present, you are aware of your thoughts, and that leaves. And that lets you expand, and that's lets you raise your level of consciousness, so you can go to the next step, to the next level. But another important step is also taking action, because without action, you're not gonna grab, you're not gonna design, you're not gonna realize the outcome that you want. I remember that when I was at university, I had a good friend of mine, a university mate, and she was a very sweet girl, and she adored me. And I was, even there, I was a powerhouse of ideas, and I was always like ready with my luggage, going there around the world for anything and everything that interested me, like conferences, lectures, or traveling abroad. That's always been one of my passions. And I was awarded with an internship at the United Nations as well. So all these kind of things. And I remember every time she used to tell me always, oh, you're so amazing. I so want to be with you. I wish I were with you. I wish I could do that too. I wish this, I wish that. And I was like, yeah, but it's not difficult. Just do it. I mean, I put one step in front of the other and I do things. I mean, it's not difficult. I can do it. You can do it. And she used to go like, but I can't. No, I can't really, my parents, and then I don't know how to go around on my own and things like that. Well, you learn, you start doing it. And I mean, at the beginning, you can go with someone, we can organize something together, and then you can step up and then start doing your own thing. But you got to start. Well, to cut it short, she kept wishing and she kept saying to me, I want to be like you. I wish I were like you. I wish I could do all these amazing stuff that you do. But she never, ever, ever took any action. Now, fast forward to now, she's I mean, I guess she's having the life that she wanted. She's a lawyer. She is a very well regarded professional. I've traveled the world. I had amazing experience. I ended up in a movie, and there's still lots of things that I am planning to do, and I'm creating in my life. I'm still creating. But I'm doing this because, yes, I'm creating first in my mind, but then I bring in them into my heart because I attach the emotion to it, and then I make a plan and I act upon it. So action is very important. And see, I've learned that I've learned there are two types of people. Those who wish or complain. Yeah, there is a variation there because some people complain all the time, I do nothing. Some people, they wish all the time and do nothing. And the other category of people is those who take action. They make up their mind and take action. And doesn't matter how long it takes. They go after what they want. And you know what? Let me tell you, sometimes when you reach your goal, it's even more amazing than you ever thought. I mean, to be honest, I never ever thought I will end up in a movie with people like Bob Proctor, Joe Vitale, John DeMartini, and many others. And I'm here also talking to you on the main stage of the Best You Expo. Like, honestly, it's a blessing. It is a true blessing, and I'm so grateful. But I took action. I made a plan. I thought of it. I made a plan and I took action. I said yes. Have I ever been scared? Yes. I have been scared. Sometimes I still am. But you know what? I keep saying yes because when the universe opens that door, when you open that door and you start to see this amazing abundant flow of amazing things that are creating here, you are creating here, then creating themselves here for you right here, right now, you don't want to stop it because that's what you wanted. I mean, that's what we're here for. We are here to create our best experience on this planet Earth. And so you're not going to create that by wishing or by saying no or by just being stuck because you're scared or because of some other paradigms and layering and belief limitations. So it's important that we really work through this. And yeah, one thing that I like you to do, guys, it's a very cool thing sometimes, and this is an exercise that I did a while back. It's make a list of the things that you wish you achieve. And then make a list of the things that you really, really, really want and you are committed to achieve. And start taking action. And if you haven't watched the movie, go watch the movie. It's amazing. It gives you really, we have all given ourselves and given the best of ourselves in the movie by sharing the best tips and strategies that we could. Of course, it's a movie, so it's a limited amount of time, but you can still reach out to us. And we will be happy to share with you even more. But the thing is, if you end up by limiting yourself with absorbing that information and learning that information, and then it finishes there, what's the improvement? What's the impact that you have made into your own lives and into the lives of others? See, information is important, absolutely. Knowledge is important, and it's the first step. And I remember a while back there was a say that was going around on social media, on internet, but also word of mouth, that information is power, knowledge is power. Yeah, information is very important, absolutely. But the true power is transformation. And information per se doesn't give you any transformation. Only the implementation on a daily basis, consistent implementation of that information, consistent implementation of that knowledge, embodiment, true embodiment of that knowledge at your mind, spirit, and body level, only that gives you transformation on a consistent basis. Of course, because we need consistency. Is a process. It's not like that you do that once and you're done. No, you got to break through the old patterns. In order to break through the old patterns, you need to establish new patterns. And how do you establish new patterns? What's a pattern? A pattern is basically a habit. And what's a habit? A habit, from a neuroscience perspective, is neural pathways in the brain that you have gone through and through and through so many times. You traveled until you go through those pathways without even thinking about it. And so it becomes automatic. It becomes your second nature. It gets embodied, it gets embedded at your subconscious level. That's when a new habit, a new pattern replaces an old one. So you will have to be willing to do the work, to take action consistently in order to create your own outcome. And believe me, when you do that, the outcome is priceless. It's priceless because it really exceeds your widest expectation. And that's when you claim back your full power. Because, and I'm gonna close on these few thoughts, because we are powerful creators. You are a powerful creator, and you have a choice. One of the choices that you have is, and that's the main one, claiming your power back and being in your full power, or give the power away, waste the power. So what are you going to do? That's your choice, and only you can make that choice. And see, a lot of time I see people that say to me, well, you know what? That wasn't really my choice. It was the circumstances. It was so and so, and then blah. I say, well, we always make choices all the time, and not making a choice is a choice too, and that's the choice of giving your power away.
Right. So amazing share on the main stage. Thank you so much for sharing. So I see doctor in the front of your name. Are you a PhD doctor, and where did you study?
I'm a jurisprudence doctor. I mean, I'm I'm Italian, so I studied in Italy.
Love it. Well, thank you for all your wisdom and motivation and sharing. And we're just honored to have you here at the Best You Expo. Do you have anything going on tomorrow? Any virtual booth that people can check you out at?
No, but I would be very happy for people to contact me directly, either via emailing me at marina@marinabruni.com or on social media, or I really want guys, go to my website and download my free guide on how to design your energetic morning routine, because it's a first step where I share very powerful technique for you to start your day, to imprint your day the way you want it to go.
I love it. And you mentioned Dr. John DeMartini. I've taken his course. I actually filmed it, and I got the course just by filming it. And it's stuck with me for decades. I mean, it's just been something that was really powerful. He's one of our speakers coming up, and so exciting to have some of the people. But how amazing that you got in a movie with some of these great speakers that we've had on our stage and world speakers around the world. You said just by happenstance, but I think it was a little more than happenstance. I think you were ready for the opportunity. Preparation meets opportunity. That's luck.
Yes, absolutely. I was ready for the opportunity, but the reason why I was ready for the opportunity is because I had done my work, and I had said yes to all the opportunities so far. And so that's how I prepared myself, and that's how we can all prepare ourselves. I mean, you cannot expect to have the big opportunities without doing the training. Because if you got the big opportunity without doing the training, you're not able to sustain that. You're not able to maintain that. It's like when you don't have much money, and then you wish you win the lottery, and then you buy the ticket, and you buy the winning ticket for the lottery, and then you win the big jackpot.
Right.
But then you're not able to keep the money. You're not able to manage the money because you are not ready for it.
Well, they say that a large percent of millionaires that win the lottery go bankrupt or die. It's just a horrible statistic.
Absolutely, because
Thank you so much for being on our stage. We have Travis Fox in the green room. We're going to bring him in as well. But again, you guys, make sure you reach out and get to know her virtually. And then maybe once this all goes away, we'll see each other on a stage again. But we're very excited that you joined us in this virtual experiment called the Best You Expo virtually. So you take care. We'll see you soon.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye. God bless. So much going on. One more full day. We've got one more speaker to wrap out today. We're going to play a movie that he's going to talk about. And we're really excited to bring in Travis Fox. Travis, I have not met you in the green room, but I just wanted to say hi to you virtually. How are you doing, sir?
I'm fantastic. Thanks for letting me be here. I know that we get to wrap up the show today. That's awesome. What a great honor. Thank you.
And I think I can already tell you're going to be a great ending to day 6. And we go into day 7. You have a movie I think we're going to be watching, or explain a little bit about that.
Yeah, actually, my prior, who's a castmate of mine, and that film is called How Thoughts Become Things. And it's really kind of, and I use this term, it's a quasi follow-up to the original movie, The Secret. And of course, the feature film has come out, the docu style of it. But this really takes it to the next level. You talk about Dr. DeMartini, also one of my fellow castmates, and you're a longtime great speaker, and Bob Proctor and John Asraf and Vitali, and all of us got together and said,
Michael Beckwith.
Yeah, I mean, come on, the list, and Bob Doyle. I mean, the list was insane. And Doug, obviously. Yeah, and so and I'm even though I've been a teacher educator for 30 years, I'm also a film producer and director, and have been for quite some time. And Doug came to me and said, "Hey, I really got this idea." And I said, "Okay, what do you got?" He said, "I really want to take The Secret to the next level. This whole law of manifestation thing, I think, it was great, but we kind of missed some points. We missed hey, you think it'll show up. Well, okay. Well, then if I think it'll show up, how come I think all these other thoughts? Where do they come from? How come I think these negative thoughts, and I had these self-limiting beliefs and self-doubts?" And so all of us got together and said, well, what if we made a film that actually took people to that process? How thoughts become things, because they do. That part, The Secret, is dead spot on and brilliant. But how is such a key. And I'm a how-to guy myself. I was that guy that said, hey, man, I don't understand. What do you mean just let go? Let go of what?
We always learned The Secret was the gateway to the box of knowledge or the information or
Right.
the secret. And John DeMartini talks about it all the time. He's like, this is just the surface.
Right.
The secret was the surface.
Yeah.
If you want to know more, you got to go deeper into these speakers and what they're sharing with you.
Right.
And so I want to give you the stage, the full time. I'll come back in about 10 to the hour, and we'll wrap up the whole day 6 together. Okay. So I appreciate your time.
Your pleasure. Thanks, man. I appreciate it so much.
Travis Fox, enjoy his.
Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, thank you for letting me be with you here at the expo. And becoming the best you is always a great process, right? Because it's evolving. It's never the, hey, I've just arrived kind of thing. And what we're going to endeavor in this film, and I'd encourage you to go check it out, because it's not just myself. Obviously, you know, I'm a part of that cast. Remember, I've been in film and television a long time. However, what's really interesting is I was a how-to guy. So you don't know me very well. For those of you who do, thank you for being here. For those of you who don't, let me kind of reintroduce myself. My name is Dr. Travis Fox, and I do have a PhD in psychology, and I have a second doctorate in clinical hypnotherapy. But I've spent the last 30 years really diving into conscious and subconscious models. You see, because my life was pre-planned by my father. I was supposed to be a PGA Tour professional golfer. So I started playing golf when I was 5, and by the time I was 19, 2 things occurred. 1, I became a first-time father at a very young age. And 2, I became an emotional basket case. I had no idea how to handle all of these experiences that had come up of being a first-time father. And I'd done all the mindset training. I knew how to stay focused. I knew how to win golf tournaments, and I knew how to do diligent practice. And I really had that positive mental attitude. But after that experience of also becoming a first-time father, and the plan of my life went right turn, Clyde, and all of a sudden it was, wait a minute, I'm a father now, and I'm supposed to go to university, and I'm supposed to play golf, and I'm supposed to do all these other things, but I have no idea how to handle it. Where are these thoughts coming from? I can tell you point blank, and for those of you who've ever played golf, it's a completely mental game, of course, just like anything else. But what was interesting, I would stand over the ball and literally have thoughts that would come out of nowhere, like, why am I wearing these shoes today? Or don't go right, or don't hit it in the lake. And I was like, what? Where are these coming from? And from that moment on, I met my mentor, and I spent the next really 15 years of my life, not only just educating myself, but traveling around the world, working with other great masters, teachers, educators, motivational speakers, going, there's got to be more than just thinking it'll show up or a positive mental attitude. Because if I have a positive mental attitude, how could I ever think a negative thought? How could I ever think a self-doubt about me? How could I ever put myself in a position where the success or the experience that I wanted would be thwarted by my own undoing? That never made sense to me. So I became a how-to guy. And so I think it was wonderful that when Doug came to me quite a while back and said, hey, I want to make a film and take it to the next level of how-to. You see, because when you really start thinking about it, and ask yourself this question right now, even though you quote unquote are paying attention and you're focused on this speech, and I thank you for that, your mind's wandering off. Your mind's wandered off about things that are already going in the past, maybe things you're relating to that I'm commenting on, or it's wandering off into the what if. What are you going to do next? What's coming up for you? What's the opportunity of this engagement? So when you come to that space, you start asking yourself, well, where do they come from? And that's where it gets a little interesting. Where do they come from? Now, some of you could say, well, Travis, it's going to come from the subconscious. Great. If you actually listen to the word subconscious by its own definition, sub meaning below, conscious awareness. Well, okay, it comes from the subconscious, but if it's below my conscious awareness, well, then how do I have any influence on it? How do I get in touch with it? We say, okay, Travis, well, there's meditation, there's yoga, there's mantra, there's hypnosis, there's NLP, there's all of these bridges, and that's great too. However, there's an old Japanese saying, see, I'm one of those third world kids. I had a very unique upbringing. I actually grew up in 2 different countries. Even though I was born in the United States, I grew up in Japan and Germany. My father was a fighter pilot, but my mother was a model and actress. Now, for those of you who are old enough to remember the original Top Gun movie, well, it didn't quite work out that way. And by 9 years old, they were no longer together. But it was a very interesting dichotomy of how my parents raised me, because I had the left brain of my father, very logical, very military, fighter pilot, everything had to be in 1, 2, or 3, because obviously, flying a plane is pretty intense. But my mother was right brain, super creative, design, fashion, photography, really understood it. And I had both. And so what really becomes an interesting thought process was, well, where do my thoughts come from? Why do I believe what I believe? If I'm done these years of playing sports and I was really conditioned to do it and I knew what my life plan was, well, how come all of a sudden these other things happen? And I became fascinated, and I'm sure.
All right. We'll see if we get him back in a second. That's live TV for you, virtual live TV. So in the meantime, we're going to see if Travis, if you can hear me, we're going to have you boot yourself out and boot yourself back in, and we'll continue the talk after this commercial break.
You got to look at yourself as a brand. A lot of people don't necessarily do that. And in order to stand out, you need to be different. Don't be a copycat. There's a lot of people doing the same kind of things and copying a lot of other people. What you need to start doing is you need to start positioning yourself as a unique individual with unique expertise. There's a lot of people that want to make a difference, but they're not following their own messages. They're not following whatever it is that they preach. So I highly recommend that you walk your talk. You don't copy other people. You take yourself seriously. You take your brand seriously, but you also look at opportunities to either partner with people or find the platforms where you can speak. The platforms where you're going to have hundreds or thousands of people attending. And that's the best way for you to start connecting and meeting and working with individuals. It's the best, it's the easiest way, and it can happen very, very quickly.
Well, and we're back.
What do you think of live TV, virtual TV? We just ride the wave. We have been all week. And
it's the way it is, man.
Now, do you remember where you were? Do you need me to remind you where you were?
Nope. Knew right where I was. I was talking about those thoughts where you're laying in bed at 3 a.m. And sorry for the commercial interruption, but thank you to our sponsors.
Absolutely. So your mom and your dad, we pick it up. Thank you for watching.
Thank you. Yeah. So, I had the two left brain. I apologize for the technology, but here we go, family. Let's welcome to the new world. So you have these two different brains operating as by hemispheric, right? I've got both brains going at the same time, creative and logical. And then all of a sudden you start asking yourself, well, what do I really believe? Where does this come from? And I had built my entire plan, and maybe you have too. And obviously where the world we live in now has completely gone right turn. None of us would have ever seen this coming, especially up the year of 2019, coming to 2020. No way. But here we are. And no different than it was 30 years ago for me, we now get the opportunity to investigate, because we've all had the time in some form or another. Where do these thoughts come from? Why do I believe what I believe? If everything in my life has changed, can I really change my life? And so we start really looking at, how do my thoughts become? Where did they come from? Why do I even have a negative thought in any part of my being? That led me on a 5-year journey. And after 15 years of teaching, educating, and being Dr. Fox, I had two things that occurred. I had realized that, I was still having these thoughts, yet I had all these letters before and after my name. I was supposed to be the guy that had it all figured out. I was the guy that taught this stuff. Heck, I have an entire worldwide academy, thousands of students. And yet I still was going, where do these thoughts come from? That took me on a 5-year journey. And then the second thing that occurred is my third child, my second son, was born autistic. And that's when the world really opened up finally for me, because I started to understand the missing part. And it's something that you've heard in a common macro sense, meaning, okay, you got to live from your heart. But what does that really mean? And what this film is really going to do is it's going to bridge the gap between what's going on up here and what's going on down here. Now, to put this in something that you can relate to immediately, like right now. How many of you actually remember you had the feeling, you got an instinct, you had your heartbeat kind of beating, and maybe it was beating against your rib cage, and you felt like this is the direction I got to go. And then 10 seconds later, every reason, every thought, every negative possibility in your brain showed up, and you talked yourself out of something that you knew you felt was a direction you needed to go, only to discover later down the road that your guts were right. Your instinct was right. Now, in my language, we call that the architect, or your being, because let's agree on simply this. You came from somewhere, you call that whatever you want. I'm not educated enough or smart enough to tell you what that is. We just call that your architect for simplicity. You came into this world, and you're going to leave this world, and the mind and the body that you currently hang out in or inhibit is going to stay here too. That means there must be something a little bit bigger going on than just our mind. Which brings me to an old saying that was brought to me when I was a much younger kid. And I didn't understand it until I got older. And I often share it with people, and also share it with you now. And that is this. If I were to take out my sword and I were to lop off your head, problem solved. But you still exist. How is that possible? Then you're going to arrive at the conclusion that there's an architect within each one of us. The question becomes, are we truly living from our architectural space? Which then brings us to, how do we get to that? One, part of what this film is going to take you to, at least in the first big, 5 or 6 major steps with other great teachers. And you have a collective over 400 years of us all collectively who have dedicated our lives to this process. Me, I'm the how-to guy. I wanted a blueprint. I want step-by-step. How do I do it? How do I understand what my conscious mind is doing? What are the rules of the conscious mind? And yes, there are rules, family, by the way. And then the subconscious mind, what's it doing? And more importantly, what's running the show? And that's what we call the architect down here. And it's really going to be driven from the emotional structure. But see, here's the thing. I'm an educator at heart. Now, you can call me Dr. Fox. You can call me a producer. You can call me a talent. You can call me Travis, whatever works for you. But I'm still a teacher at heart. In fact, for those of you out there, the word doctor actually derives from the etymology of a Latin word means teacher. So to become a teacher is really the endeavor of my entire journey, and have been here so far going on my 30th year. And then you start to dive into, what am I really teaching? You see, I believe each one of us is already an architect within. And the difference is, it's not about you becoming more enlightened per se, or the best version of yourself per se. That version already exists. It is the architect within you. It is that beautiful part of your being that is already there. Rather, and part of what this film is going to take you through is what I call the beautiful darkness. And that is pulling off the layers and lenses that we have put on top of the natural being, the natural light, the natural effervescence that you already are through belief structures. You see, because if we don't understand our belief structures well, then you're doomed to repeat them, which is why those negative thoughts show up time and time again, no matter how often you try to force yourself into it. You know, and the famous book by Norman Vincent Peale, Learned Optimism, was one of the best titles ever titled. Learned Optimism means you have to learn how to be optimistic. You see, part of how our brain is built, at least the conscious perspective, is to be judgmental, a guardian, to filter. Because if it didn't, that big, beautiful subconscious mind of yours, which is that wonderful computer that it is, well, it would just do whatever it's programmed to do, or whatever information it receives coming from your outside world, and more importantly, information it receives from your inside world, what's going on down here emotionally. Now, how many of you have had this experience? And I'll kind of put this in a fine point for you. How many of you have actually met someone, you meet them right away, you're like, bang, I'm going to be friends with you for life. And it's only like after 4 or 5 words, there's something going on deeper, and you get that feeling like, I like what's right in front of me. That works for me. Conversely, you met somebody else and you met him, like, whoa, okay. They only have to say 3 or 4 words. And it wasn't they said anything negative or derogatory. You just got that feeling. Where'd that come from? Where did that come from? Now, many of you are going to say, well, it came from my gut, my heart, my architect, whatever word you want to use. Great. Then that must imply there's something else going on, which means we start to ask how our thoughts become things. They start with the emotional driver. What is the emotion we're actually playing? And how many times have you done this? Again, put a finer point on it. You've gone out and said, this is going to be the greatest day. I'm going to make it happen. It's going to be amazing. And then you walk right out the door. Somebody cuts you off in traffic and bang. You're like, wow, that really just didn't feel good. And then the day, no matter how optimistic you thought or tried to be, kept being something different. And that's because there's 2 things going on. It's not what you think. It's who you are. And then you can change how you think by coming from the inside out. I call this thing up here on your shoulders, and mine too, I call that a transmitter receiver. See, it receives information in, but what information am I transmitting out to receive? Now, as we talked about in the moment, when I first came on, we talked about the law of attraction as the gate. You know, it was the gate that kind of opened things up. And that's true. That message has been around since the dawn of time. But the secret did something really, really well. It opened up on a global scale. Technology allowed us to do that, and even more so now. And now, how we did how thoughts become things took it to the next level. You see, we took it to the next level and said, well, wait a minute. We got step 1 and step 2. If I think it shows up, and if I kind of hold the space, it'll be there. Okay, well, let's fill in the gap. Now I'm a how-to guy. I'm an architect of companies and brands and like beings by part. That's what I really love to do, is watch people architect their life. Each one of you is an architect inside. The question is, do you have the blueprint? Do you have the blueprint for a step-by-step to understand clinically what's going on? A, how to experience what's going on and apply it. And then most importantly, the experience of measurement. Can I measure myself in how quickly I catch myself going into a direction and then redirect it? And I don't mean just false optimism and fake it till you make it. I'm talking about truly re-changing how you feel, how you believe, to be who you really are. Because let's be honest, we're either laying the thoughts that become bricks in the path to the journey we want to create, or we're laying the bricks of our own prison psychologically with those same very thoughts. And we start to put ourselves in prisons. I mean, let's be honest. You know, one of the things that COVID-19 has really brought to the equation, let's just bring that to the equation right now, and let's get a little bit comfortable with being uncomfortable, is that none of us are getting off this planet alive, period. So then let's ask a really powerful question. I'm going to ask you all right now, and I want you to take a moment, even take a breath and take this in, because it's very powerful. If you only had 30 days left to live on this planet, would you be doing anything that you're doing currently right now? And if any part of your answer to any part of your life currently is no, you owe it to yourself to stop And then ask yourself how the thoughts that I'm thinking keep me doing the same thing over and over and again that I've been doing. And if you don't know a blueprint, which wouldn't surprise me because we don't educate anymore, we help people learn a bunch of stuff in school, middle school, high school, and somewhat in university, but more so in middle school and high school. We don't educate anymore. I'm an educator. My job is best, and my passion is to help other people recognize you are the architect of your life. And that starts with owning the concept of, I don't know where my thoughts come from, but I'm going to find out. And the film will give you the first blueprint to do that. The second blueprint, you can obviously come to the Architects of Being Academy or one of the other great teacher educators who are in this film. And it is a lot of us. We all came together and everybody contributed in a very, very powerful way for our part. None of us came with the attitude of, I've got it all figured out. In fact, quite the opposite. We all came from, this is the only part that I think I know and I've spent the X amount of years really kind of mastering. And then we each put our mastership to the best of our ability in there so that you could have that concept. And then from there, feel which teacher you resonate with. Again, I'm a how-to guy. I want a blueprint, step by step, so I know what's going on. I can understand it. I can feel it. I can measure my results, because the game I came from, which was golf, it was measured in results. You either made the putt or you didn't. You either hit the green or you didn't. You either went out of bounds or you stayed in bounds. It was very simple stuff. So I got to measure my results very quickly on the impact of what my swing was doing. No different here. I can measure my results of what my thoughts are doing by watching how my feelings are working and then restructure myself so that I can actually live the life that I want to live. Now, when you hear live the life you want to live, a lot of people say, well, come on, that you're just pipe dreaming, Travis. Am I? Isn't that a thought too? And then ask yourself, where'd that belief structure come from? And if you're really going to be authentic with yourself, which I invite you to do, because why wouldn't you be? That thought probably came from a past sequence where you're making decision of your past as though it is a current moment choice, and it's not. So an example, how many of you actually know there's a difference between a decision and a choice? A decision is activated from the past, and by the time you become aware of it consciously, it was already done because it was autopilot from your subconscious, usually related to a past experience, belief structure, or disposition of your past, which means you're still not even being present in your own life, and we're making decisions of the past but expecting different results, or worse yet, we're keeping ourselves locked in our past and then keep waiting for our ship to come in someday. You know, as you heard in the previous segment, lottery winners, most of them go back to their previous processing before they won the lottery. Why? Because they have an entire matrixal system in here of higher belief systems, higher value values, emotional structures, adaptive response, internal response sequence, internal states, all this really fancy stuff that really just is broken down into a simple process. And when you understand the process, here's the difference, family. You move from riches to wealth. See, I define wealth as not necessarily monetarily, although that's great. Had money, lost money, had money, lost money, had money. Yes, I agree that having money is a lot better than losing money or not having it. I agree. But even that is a thought process. And any one of the great teachers will tell you that is a relationship to money that 90% of the time is the reason for our failure. And it's not failure that you're bad. It's just how we believe money. So for example, money doesn't grow on trees. No pain, no gain. It's a dog-eat-dog world. Those sound like these kind of innocuous things that you don't really pay attention to, but when they're lodged down here, well, guess what? They become things, family, and they become actions, and they become behaviors, and they become automatic, and then before you know it, they just become the norm. And then you start asking questions like this. When did I exchange dreaming for hoping? You see, because hoping was an implied doubt that was never committed to in the first place. I hope for the best. Right. Plan for the worst. So I'm already planning for the worst, which means down here, I'm already not committed to the result. I'm committed to the failure and I'm comfortable with it. And then ask yourself this question. When did you stop creating? Because when you were little, you were imagining, you created all day long. When did you stop creating and exchange it for just doing? And last but not least, when did you drop the idea that you're going to have an extraordinarily amazing, interesting, amazing life journey and just settle for mediocrity and say, good enough is good enough? Those are the questions you want to ask. And then you're going to dive in. How did those thoughts become beliefs? How did they become so real and so comfortable they feel like an old pair of shoes that I never take off? In fact, I prefer to put them on because I'm comfortable with them. And then you're going to ask yourself about choice. See, a decision's from the past of things that's already happened and you became aware of it. A choice is about a resonant feeling. There's a great line from the movie The Matrix. You all probably heard it in some form or another, but it says, your comprehension is not a prerequisite for your cooperation, which means you have the choice, like right now, you have the choice to choose to architect your life completely different. You have a choice to learn how your thoughts become things. You have a choice. Even though you may not understand it, even though your mind might tell you all the reasons it can't work, your mind might tell you that it's all BS, it's all hogwash, blah, blah, blah. Your mind may say that, but if it's a feeling down here, then you get a choice to follow it, even though you may not comprehend it. You may not understand it right now, but you will if you make the choice to follow. And then you get to ask yourself, where did that thought become a thing in the first place? When did I become so jaded? When did I become so negative? And this is the biggest question I want to ask you, because I know my time is running short and I want to make sure I went on some very powerful things for you. When did you become the last thing to invest in on your strategy? You'll invest in stocks, you'll invest in bonds, you'll invest in cryptocurrency, you'll invest in all kinds of startups, but investing in you seems like the last thing on the planet. Now, wait a minute. You spent the better part of your early teens into your 20s, quote unquote, educating yourself, investing in you. Your parents spent money to put you through university, to give you clothes and school and cars and all these things. And when did that stop? Oh, that's right. When you left the education system. Here's the funny thing. The education system doesn't teach educationally anymore. We teach you how to take tests, give you an attaboy, an attagirl, and perform for a tax dollar. That's learning stuff. I'm talking about educating yourself. You see, because the wealth of you is when you educate yourself, when you start to understand where your thoughts come from, to architect your life and your lifestyle simultaneously. Because remember, if you're not getting off this planet alive, well, then life without living is the ultimate undoable regret. Ultimate undoable regret. The wealth of you is already here, locked in. Architect it through a blueprinted space, understanding how your thoughts become things to truly change the beliefs that are inhibiting and holding you back, and how these thoughts you think that keep you up at 3 and 4 in the morning, and things will change. But it starts with the one thing that you probably haven't done in a long time. And that's make a choice. And that's listen to the architect within. If you had 30 days left to live and you felt that come up, which I'm sure you did, maybe your heartbeat's beating a little bit more intense right now, and maybe breaking your rib cage open, your palms are a little sweaty. We call that a heart ping. That's your heart, architect's heart going, let's make a choice, even though we don't understand it. And all these thoughts are telling me the reasons I can't do it. And because I'm the last thing, I got to ensure I take care of everybody else before I take care of myself. If you take care of everybody else before you take care of yourself, what happens? There won't be much left of you. Again, when did you become the last investment on your investment strategy on this planet? It isn't just about money, family, that makes you wealthy. It's about a set of wealth skills that you can take and change your life, change your mind, understand how things work, architect a life and a lifestyle, and then most importantly, educate those around you in passion, purpose, and point. And that, my friends, is how you'll learn how thoughts become things. And most importantly, that architecting your life isn't just, hey, coaching. And I respect all the coaches out there in the world, and coaches will tell you what to do, but life architecting tells you how to do it. And it harkens back to one of the oldest comments you've ever heard in the world, which is you can feed a man for the day by catching a fish for him. But if you teach him to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. When you teach the wealth skills that we teach in this film and that we do at architecting, you can actually really change your life because you have a step-by-step blueprint. We don't build our house without a blueprint. We don't build a car factory without a blueprint. Heck, we don't do anything without a blueprint. How come we don't have a blueprint for ourselves on how this thing works? Because the single longest relationship you're ever going to have in your entire life is with you. That's right. Wherever you go, there you are. So remember, architect you and learn how those thoughts become things, because guess what, boys and girls? Life without living is the ultimate undoable regret. Live your buns off.
Wow. I didn't even want to come back in. I wanted you to keep going, but unfortunately this is all digitized, so it will cut us off, and I wanted to give you a proper send off. Thank you for closing day 6 on the main stage of the Best You Virtual Expo 2020. We're going to see part of your movie, the full movie. I think
you're seeing the whole thing. Doug said, I think you guys are going to put the whole thing together and get to see it. If not, we'll make sure. I'll talk to Doug. He's the big guy on that one.
So that will be airing right after you walk off the stage. We're going to have that. We're going to run a couple commercials and stay around. Watch it. It's on Roku right now. So you've been on television the whole time.
Oh, cool.
It's quite exciting. You know, we're moving into the next venture of the Best You. So we're really focusing on the TV and really honing in for broadcasting through the TV. So it's very exciting.
Yeah, I think Tony just said it's a preview. It just popped up. I saw it out of the corner of my eye. So I think it's a preview just for clarity. You're going to get a preview of the film, which, by the way, if that doesn't get your attention, nothing will. The preview snap. It's awesome.
So this stuff all gets archived. You can get other speakers that you haven't seen. You can see your speech. You can share it. It'll be around, I think, for 3 weeks in the system, and then it'll go in another system. But make sure you guys, if you haven't seen any of the other speakers, you want to see this speaker again, just go inside the Best You Expo. There's so much to see, so many speakers. We have one more day left, day 7 coming up. All right, guys, keep watching. Dr. Travis Fox, so exciting having you on this stage. Hope to see a lot more of you in the virtual world and in person.
Thank you, brother.
All right, you take care. Bye-bye.
You've chosen, place your fingerprints on life, and make a difference right now.
You are the defiant human spirit.
Every adversity carries a seed of a greater good.
Dreams matter so much.
What do you want? What do you really want?
What is a normal life? 74, 77 years on Earth? That only equates to 30,000 days on Earth. Time is not running out, but your life is.
The hardest thing to actually master is faith. When you get to that level, you feel like you're manipulating reality.
Dreams are the spark plugs of the spirit. Imagination enables you to really think, imagine, decide on what you'd like to do with your life.
I don't think there was a point along the way of my career where I wasn't seeing myself in a movie of where I was going to be a year out, 2 years out, 3 years out, and I saw it like it existed.
Some people don't believe in the law of attraction. I've proven it, I've seen it scientifically.
When we're born, we're risk takers, and then as we grow older, we're taught to play it safe.
A burning desire is an inner candle, an inner flame that can never be extinguished. And no matter what may go before you, come hell or high water, you are going to bet your existence on this burning desire.
The biggest dream you ever had in your life is alive and well. And the only thing you have to do to activate it is sit right where you're sitting right now and say, yes, I'm going to do that.
Every one of us has inside of us the desire to do something big.
There's no secret to success. If there is a secret to success, it's just that. There is no secret.
Life should be a rich experience. Do yourself a favor and really begin to think.
The Best You is leading the way in the industry of personal and professional growth. Through our magazine, expos, e-learning, TV, club, and awards, The Best You's objective is to help people achieve their dreams, to do more, to be more, to live a life without limits. Join us if you believe in helping and inspiring others, in changing the world, in making it a more just and fair place through education and inspiration. Our goal: everyone, everywhere,